Hi, welcome to Preps Plus Podcast, episode 28, brought to you by Sterling Auto Group. I'm Joshua Hart, sports editor here at the Daily News. I'm here with Jason Leskiw, our Preps reporter.
Big baller brand.
We're really kind of midway through the basketball season, getting close to Christmas break here as teams, Central 2B League teams are like halfway through, Pacific 2B League teams are halfway through, A side has started, so lots of basketball has already happened. There's still obviously a lot more to come. I'd like to plug our Preps Plus basketball magazine. It comes out on Christmas Eve. It's bigger than we've ever had before. 64 pages, league previews, team previews. We have a really interesting cover story on Roots Sports Academy led by Scott Pasapia and the work he's done to impact local hoops around the area. So we think it's pretty cool. There's a lot of work over the past couple weeks. So I'm glad it's finally over and ready for you guys to see it. But because there's so much information, Jason and I will just get to a little point, here, and then he has an interview with Shaw Anderson later in this episode. That's about 15 minutes for you guys to listen to. Jason, first off, just kind of give us a little tease to that Shaw Anderson interview. What did he talk about?
We talked about kind of the growth of Kelso basketball and the growth of the overall success that Kelso's had in the recent year. They've just been terrific in the classroom with a couple, all-state academic awards and also several by-district, regional, and state playoff appearances. The entire program has really has had immense success recently, and we talked about some hoops.
And that'll lead right into our next point of biggest surprise so far of the early season. And I'll start because I think it's a good segue. Mark Morris boys basketball has been pleasantly surprising for me. They obviously got the big win over Kelso last week, and I honestly expected this team to take a step backward this year. You lose a scorer like Will Burkhart, usually you see somebody come in, but it just looked like one of the more shallow groups Bill Backamus has had in many years. But as we've talked about before, there's a system with Bill Backamus, and if you stay within that system, you have a good chance to win games. And the 17 league titles, obviously kind of speak for themselves. And so I think Kelso's a great basketball team, and to see Mark Morris get that win, it shocked me. But you look at Mark Morris, and they had the two early losses, but you currently have a loss to Skyview, which is one of the top 4A teams as far as RPI goes right now, and obviously I have issues with RPI, but Skyview's no slouch at 4A, and then you have Timberline, who I think by anyone's standards is a top 5, top 10 3A team, RPI or state rankings or AP or Tacoma News Tribune, whatever rankings you want to go by, Timberline's one of the top teams. So if those are your two losses, you're looking pretty good to start the year, especially when you do have a signature win over Kelso in a packed gym in front of a rowdy crowd that was pumped up from the Hall of Fame ceremony, and I think that's a staple win and goes to show that Mark Morris is very much in contention for another GSHL 2A title, and especially with some early results like Hawkinson beating Woodland and Washougal really handing it to R.A. Long. So Mark Morris so far is kind of my surprise. Jason, what's been your biggest surprise so far?
I was actually, it's unfortunate that you picked Mark Morris boys because mine was going to be Mark Morris girls, and how impressive that win against Kelso also was. I mean, Kelso's a talented team there on the girls' side as well, and so for them to get a win, and really in the way that they did, they were able to stave off a tough opponent in the final 2 minutes, which is not always easy to do. It can be very nerve-wracking for anybody, any team. They managed their ball movement well when Kelso was fouling, when it was a 1 or 2 possession game at the end there. So, they pulled away with a larger margin of victory than it was, at the 2-minute mark, and so that's a credit to the talent of the roster as well as the coaching. I'm gonna reach a little bit into sticking with the GSHL 2A and the Woodland girls. I'm kind of surprised that they are not undefeated right now, actually, and so I think they're a team that has a ton of potential, and I expect to see that by the end of the season. I'm more surprised that we haven't seen it a little bit earlier in the year, but like I said, I think it'll show, and I think by the end of the year, it'll have start to blossom a little bit. You'll see that rose bloom a little bit. So
yeah, we definitely saw it with Woodland girls last year being so young, and then really contending with Morris girls, and they beat Washougal girls late in the season. And they really started to grow under the guidance of Glenn Flanagan out there, and I think a similar thing will happen this year. I was shocked to see them lose to Hawkinson. Nothing against Hawkinson, but Woodland has shown last year that they're young, they're talented, and they can keep up with Washougal and Morris, who are the class of the league right now. So I was surprised to see it. It'll be an interesting one tonight against Morris. You mentioned Morris as a surprise team. I don't think I'm surprised by Morris anymore. I was surprised when Sean Atkins, a couple of years ago, took a basically fresh group, a group that had graduated everyone from a state championship team, and took them to the state playoffs. At this point, I'm not surprised, and I think they're even, obviously they won the league title a couple of years ago. They took second to Washougal last year, and then this year I think they're better. And they have like 11 seniors or 9 seniors or something. Most of their 90% of their roster is seniors, and last year they were so 3-ball heavy. If the post wasn't working, they relied, I think, too much on the 3-pointer. This year they have Mosier and Kalina Makaivi, who's really good at. They're both really good at driving the lane. They play really good defense. And then when you have posts like Libby Bartleson and Alexis Troy, who just are relentless work ethic. I mean, they could be, have never trained, and just because of their work ethic, they could, grab rebounds and get points. They've grown a lot, but like that heart of that work ethic and like we're never gonna give up, really allows them to excel down low. So I think Mark Morris is certainly in contention for a league title, and I think especially with Hawkinson beating Woodland early, that this could get interesting in the GSHL 2A, right. Especially with Washougal returning Beyonce Bay and Mason Oberg and the talent that they do return. So
yeah, but really, I think Washougal with Beyonce Bay is still going to need Kelly Rowland to return to her own form. Josh gets that joke. I hope the rest of you get it, but I'm not certain that's going to happen.
Jason's older than most of us guys.
Thanks. I am fearful walking up the steps that I may injure myself just heading to my apartment. But
remember, he ran the 40-yard dash at the combine this summer, and what was it, 7 seconds?
Oh, hush. I watched the video. It was not 7 seconds. It was 6.8 seconds. All right. Now, and one thing I wanted to mention after seeing a couple basketball games this year. Kids, stop taking off-balance mid-range shots, please. It's you're gonna miss, and even if you make it, it's still a bad shot. So, please do that. If not for you, do it for me.
All right, we'll jump right into that interview with Kelso Jr. Shaw Anderson.
Hi, I'm here with Shaw Anderson. I guess forward. Would you be a forward or a center?
Yeah, forward.
Forward with Kelso High School's basketball team. Team's top scorer, top rebounder, right? Still?
I believe so.
Okay. You guys are coming off a really successful season and kind of, I know Coach Kinch has had that phrase he likes to use of having a target on your back now.
Yeah.
Kind of, has it felt like that so far this season for you guys?
Yeah, it feels like it because, like, when we come into some games, like the Mark Morris game, teams really, like, they want to beat us. And, like, the WF West game, like Coach Kinch said, like, if they could have beat us, like, they would have had, like, real pride in that.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it feels like teams just play, like, they play to beat Kelso. It's like a stamp, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Okay. So you noticed teams playing you differently, using different techniques and things like that?
Yeah, try different stuff on us, yeah.
Okay. Have you guys had to change your game as a result, or are you guys kind of just staying true to, what got you here?
We don't change much of our game as much, really, but we do make adjustments based on what other teams are doing, like just during the game, like quick stuff. But we don't change our game plan or anything like that.
Okay. Is there one thing that especially starting from last season to now, you feel has really boosted the team's success?
If I were to say the one thing, it's we have a goal that we came up with. It's to win everything. It's kind of like our motto. Like, we know we've had like success, and like last year we set goals to like try to go to state and stuff, and we feel like if we don't set like a goal, if we just like keep going, I feel like we just keep like going as far as we can, it'll help us be better, because we try to do that in practice. We don't want to just get through a drill. We want to win everything in practice and just have that mentality in every practice, every game, everything we're doing on and off the floor in school and all that stuff.
Okay.
And that's kind of helped like us as like our morality and stuff as a team.
Okay. And what's been the biggest factor, on a personnel or either or skill set, I guess is probably the best. What's been the biggest factor there from a skill set perspective? Does that make sense?
For like our team?
Yeah.
I think a big factor is our size is a little bit bigger than it was last year. Like, I think overall. And I think our guards are more experienced, and we're handling pressure better than we were last year. Those are probably two things I could think of right now.
Okay. And it's one thing I know to have size. It's another thing to know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And I from watching you against Mark Morris, it's clear that you do. Was that how much have you worked on your post moves over the years, and where have you seen the most growth? In the last couple of years.
I've just worked on post moves like basically since I started playing, because I was just a little bit taller than everyone else as a kid, right? And then you get put as like a post,
right?
And like so that's what I've just practiced since like 4th grade all through like tournament team. But the most growth was probably between my freshman and sophomore year. I think I actually grew like more than I usually have every year, and like I got a little more coordinated, and my footwork became good between sophomore year and this year, and now the two combined, it's just really helped me well.
Okay.
The height and the footwork, yeah.
Okay. And has there been a new arrival on the team, or maybe not even a new arrival, that or someone that has been on the team but taken a large step forward, or is that probably true with a lot of the guys on the team too?
It's true with a lot of the guys. Anders Gamble, he's made huge strides to becoming a starter and stuff like that. And a new arrival on our team that's really helped us as a really, really good role player is Reese Tack. He rebounds well, he blocks shots, he plays real hard, he makes shots.
It's a big dude.
Yeah. He's bigger than me.
Yeah. Was he? I think he's listed at what, 6'6"?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
6'6".
Okay. And he looks every bit of it, which is another thing. Sometimes, a guy will be 6'6", but a rail and can't do anything with it. So, how do you guys unwind? I mean, that's another thing that I think a lot of people, especially when you're young, for me anyway, I guess maybe I'm speaking personally, it's like no sleep for the wicked, or no rest for the wicked. Keep going, never rest. And I know probably over the last 5 or 6 years, I've noticed just how important rest can be for anybody. Doesn't matter how old or young you are. What do you guys do to recuperate after games and practices, and also just to relax mentally?
Well, for us, we go through like a school day, right? And we have our practices. Basically, the whole team will talk like after practice for a little bit, and we all just go home.
Mm-hmm.
We don't like do much stuff. We just like to go to school, go play basketball for a while,
Mm-hmm.
then we go home. And I sometimes I take a hot tub.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like to relax like that,
Right.
and it's just a routine like that.
Okay.
It just really helps. Yeah.
All right. You guys got some 2K tournaments or some Madden tournaments going?
And every once in a while on game days, we have like a team thing. Like we eat, and we just unwind before, a few hours before the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel, does that help? I guess I should.
Yeah, it helps. You definitely feel like rested after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Relax, loose, and all that stuff. Okay.
Loose is a good word to describe it.
Yeah. Okay. How different has this season been so far relative to last season?
A difference I can see is, I think we all last season we didn't really know what we could do.
Mm-hmm.
We just came in ready to play. We all wanted to play basketball. But this season, we all know we can accomplish something
Right.
that we haven't accomplished in a long time, and we all want it just as bad as everybody else does, 1 through 11.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always in the back of our minds whenever we're doing anything, and that's a difference that I see.
Okay. Walk me through kind of some of the latter game, the last 3 or so games of last year, and going, how going into the final game. And I know that there's only one team that's not going to be upset when the season ends for the most part.
Yeah.
And so how have you guys, how did those last couple games feel? And then, how has that translated into this year? Do you guys carry any of that?
We carry I don't think we carry anything but the game against Wilson when they had full court buzzer thing,
Mm-hmm.
that was to go to state, I'm pretty sure. And that one was the tough loss for us, for everyone in Kelso, because we really did want to go to state. And to come back from that, I think we won another game after that, or two.
Mm-hmm.
That helped us, but really that game is something that we thought about. And when we get to the point, we're going to try to get to the point this year where we can do more than we could have, and we're going to try to put it in our hands of what happens
Okay.
in the playoffs and stuff.
Okay. One thing I like to ask guys about their team is what's it like playing for Coach Kitch? How is he as a coach? Vocal and energetic, or?
Yeah, he's vocal, and he's always likes to bring energy to everything. Practices, games, he gets fired up all the time. And we all like it. We all know how he is and how he's always been like that for 3 years, and
Right.
he always will.
He seems like the type of guy, and I haven't spent a lot of time around him, but he definitely seems like the type of guy who is able to kind of compose his energy, not get too overly excited, or and kind of look calm on the outside, but definitely can show the energy when he needs to.
Yeah.
Is that a fair evaluation?
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. Yeah, right on. Oh, and the screen went purple. I hope. We're just gonna have to roll with that. So, I hope it's still recording. What types of things have you guys done in the off season that may have been different in years past?
We've had workouts. We have it 2 days a week, and we do summer league like we always do. That stays the same.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Gonzaga camp, which stayed the same. But then we had in August, I think we'd have 2 workouts a week,
Mm-hmm.
and then we played in the Jefferson Fall League, and that was different, and that kind of helped us. We played some really good teams down there
Mm-hmm.
from Oregon.
Okay. Kelso's been on a what appears to be a sustained path, an incline with the softball team making state, the baseball team got to regionals, a couple state champion wrestlers, football team's been solid at least. The basketball team's been solid at least. You guys had a regional berth last year, that sort of thing. What would you attribute that to? Is easily explainable as having just a crop of good athletes coming through at the same time, or is there more to it?
It might just be like from the bottom of like, at least for my point, like KYB and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It starts like through that, and we do a good job through that with like through John Webb and him,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I'd explain it, I guess.
Okay. The thing is, Kelso East basketball is just basketball, though. Is there with? I can't quite remember if the soccer teams made regionals last year, but those are the only things I can really think of, that the teams that haven't, made it into the playoffs and kind of. So I wonder, is it have you spent much, like with Peyton Noah and Emmett and those guys? Have they noticed anything that you can tell with? Are the youth sports in Kelso doing a little bit more than other cities, or?
Maybe it's just because like big city and like bigger city, good crop of kids. I guess I don't really know how to explain it.
Okay. And then another thing Kelso boasts too is several state academic champions this last year. I think it was 3 different teams were state, and that was more than anybody else in the state for 3As. It's just, when you look at those things, kind of where I'm going with this is, when you look at those things, it's like, my natural presumption is to think that the leadership and the coaching and everything is just on point, and so, how has your relationship been with Coach Kinch, and have you gotten to spend, obviously Dia Boy's an assistant on the team, and how much time have you spent around those guys, and how influential have they been in not just your basketball life, but day-to-day life?
Well, I see them like all the time. I have Dia Boy is actually one of my teachers, and like
right.
we talk about like he teaches math.
Right, math. Okay, right. That's
talk
what I
about
thought.
that. I was talking about him after the game last night, just because I asked him like if he graded my test, and we talked about like they're really influential, especially like Coach Coburn. Always like just in practice, he'll just ask you like stuff about like what's going on in your life and like school and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Kinch, sometimes you have like meetings with him in his office, and he'll just like get to talk to you, and he likes to talk and like just know how you're doing, and he gives you advice if you ask for it, and if you can come to him with anything, he'd help you with it.
Nice. Okay. And what are your? This is kind of my last question here. What are your general aspirations for the season, and how you'd like it to end?
I'd like it to end. I want our team to be successful and have a good run in like a state tournament.
Okay.
And have a nice see how just go as far as we can. And
kind of take it game by game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Here with I'll let you actually do the exit. Why don't you do the exit?
Okay.
However you want to.
Here was Shaw Anderson, and thanks for having me.
There we go. Perfect. All right, guys. Take care.
All right, thanks for joining us on Preps Plus Podcast, episode 28. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I don't think we'll be back next week. We'll take the week off for Christmas. Jason's going on vacation down to San Francisco, yeah?
Bay Area, yeah. I'll be in the East Bay. I may actually, you know what? Driving through the city on Christmas night is a splendid. It's kind of nice. So I probably will be in San Francisco a little bit, actually.
So we will be off next week, but we will be back January, the first week of January, to talk about Civil War action. That first week we jump right back into it. So we'll get right back into all of that, and so we'll see you soon. Thanks to Sterling Auto Group.
Yep.
Don't forget about them.
Buy me a car for Christmas.